made it pretty clear, I do like auctions. You know, I like the clarity it brings to the buyers, the clarity it brings to the sellers. However, you can see why Brisbane has a 10% lower clearance rate than most other states in Australia more often than not. And the main reason is it's these agents promising $1 million for a property that's probably only worth $800,000. Or they're promising, you know, maybe they're promising the right amount, but then they're putting the property in the price point really low on realestate.com. So in the back end, there's a price that you can put a property. Buyers can't see that price, but it puts it in their price point. The issue is they'll get a heap of people to the auction, all thinking they're going to get a bargain because they'd all love to buy this $1 million house for $700,000. In the end, say the owner wants 1.2 or 1.1, it gets passed in. The buyers have done all this legwork, got excited about winning it. The agents told them they're in the hot seat or the box seat to own it, and they turn up and they either get outbid on their first bid, or it gets passed in and then ends up with offers over something ridiculous, you know, above what they were willing to pay anyway. It makes me want to warn sellers to be careful, be cautious of the agent who recommends auction straight off the bat. You know, I've heard it before where they get all the way to auction day and the auctioneer is pushing the seller to accept this cash unconditional offer. You know, oh, you should accept it, it's cash unconditional, you know. Think about it, you have to go back on the market, do all these open homes again. You can be done cash unconditionally. And you see these houses and sometimes they're undersold. So I'd be cautious of any agent who suggests going to auction straight off the bat. I'd probably ask them why. Why auction? What makes you think it's a good idea for my property? What are the alternatives? You know, because I find a lot of these young agents are getting into the industry and they're pushing auction, so the auctioneer has to do the work for them. And in some cases pressuring the seller to accept an offer at auction rather than continue on with open houses. You know, this is a cash offer, you should accept it. You don't want to go through all these open homes again. You don't want to go through the stress of cleaning up every week. You know, I get it. You know, there is a factor in that, but at the same time, as their agent, you've got to give them the best advice as to what can get them the best price or the best conditions for their situation. And in some cases, it will be passing in at auction. So yeah, be cautious of any agent who pushes auction straight off the bat. Make sure they have a good reason for choosing that.